I am your teacher Lendl Duco, and this afternoon we are going to discuss and analyze the first example. So our first example is Kenny sells his old clothes. But before that, let me tell you student that there are two types of clauses. First is independent clause and dependent clause. If you're going to ask me, teacher, what is independent clause and dependent clause? Student, that is simple. Independent clause, it includes the subject and verb and that expresses complete thought. While the dependent clause is a group of words that contains a subject and verb but does not make sense on its own as a sentence. Okay, in our first example, Kenny sells his old clothes is an example of independent clause. Why? Because it includes the subject and verb that expresses the complete thought. Okay, next is our clause elements. So we're still using Kenny sells his old clothes as our example in our clause element. Okay, Kenny is our subject. Sells is our predicate. It tells us what subject does. His is our indirect object, which is use transitive verb to indicate who benefits the action. And old clothes is our direct object, a noun or pronoun that receives the action. So in coding, that is SPOIOD. Okay, next is, now let's proceed to the phrase structure. In a sentence, by broken down into two categories or in their constituent part. Okay, we're still using Kenny sells his old clothes as our example. And the first thing to do is to identify where to cut the sentence to show the subject and the predicate. So we cut in between Kenny and sell his old clothes. So our noun phrase here is Kenny, while our verb phrase is
message.
Sells his old clothes. Now let's identify what type of verb is used. So sells is a ditransitive which is able to take both direct and indirect object. So sells is a ditransitive, then his is indirect object, and old clothes is a direct object. Now let's proceed to phrase structure. Okay, Kenny is an N, that is NP itself, and now let's connect to NP and VP. So the cells here is ditransitive, and then his is our determiner, and old clothes is a noun. So that is how you're going to do phrase structure. So thank you student for listening, and next is teacher Yopetranga. She is going to discuss with you the second example. So thank you so much and have a great day.
Good day. I am Rayabeth and I am your teacher for this day. And now I'm going to explain the sentence, the client finally responded. The client finally responded is an independent clause since it has a subject and a verb that express a complete thought. In the clause element, the sentence have the client as subject, finally as adverbial since it modify a verb and it can be removed without affecting the grammaticality of the sentence, and responded as the predicator. In coding, it will be subject, adverbial, and predicate, or SAP. Now, let's proceed to the phrase structure in the sentence by breaking it down into categories and constituent parts. In doing the structure analysis, the first thing to do is identify where to cut the sentence to show the subject and predicate. In the sentence, the client finally responded, we will cut it after the word client. So, the client will be the NP and finally responded is the VP. Since we are already cut the sentence, next is will be identify what type of verb is used. In the sentence, the word responded is an intransitive. The word finally is an adverb, so now we have a verb phrase. Next, the word the is the determiner and the client is noun, so we have the client as noun phrase. Now, let's do the diagram by connecting the NP and VP. So, we have the word the as that and client as NP. Connect the two to have noun phrase. Next is the adverb word finally as adverbial phrase. And the intransitive word responded as verb phrase. Connect the two to have VP. And then connect the NP and VP to have the S. So that's it. We have the diagram of the sentence. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am your teacher Jessa and I will be going to explain this sentence. So we have here, we are the lucky winners. So this sentence is an example of an independent clause because it has a subject and a verb and it conveys a complete thought. In clause elements, we have we as our subject, are as our predicator, and the lucky winners as our subject complement. It is subject complement because it follows a linking verb and it completes the sense of our subject. So in coding, we have the S, P, C, S. We have the S subject, P predicate, and the CS subject complement. So we have done the clause structure, and let's proceed to the phrase structure to show how a sentence can be broken down into categories or their constituent parts. So we will still use the we are the lucky winners. So the first thing to do in doing the structure analysis in step by step, the first thing to do is to identify where to cut the sentence in order for us to know where is the subject and the predicate. So in the we are the lucky winners, as you can see, we have cut it into two parts. We cut are the lucky winners. So we cut it after the we. So our we is the noun phrase or the NP, and are the lucky winners is our verb phrase or the VP. So let's identify next the what type of verb is used in the sentence. So we have to know what is the role of the word after the verb. So we are the lucky winners. Are is our verb, and it is an intensive verb because it has a single complement and it takes a form of an adjective phrase. So are is an intensive verb. So let's proceed to know what is the role of the lucky winners. The lucky winners, we all know that the is determiner. So let's put it aside first to leave us with lucky winners. So since our verb, which is are is an intensive verb, then lucky winners is a subject complement. So we have are and lucky winners sisters and and the mother is the verb phrase. So let's then attach the. So the are lucky winners and the are sisters, and the mother of second mother of verb phrase. So we have done the verb phrase. So let's move on to the subject. We have the subject, which is we. we is a pronoun and it stand alone. So we is our pronoun and it is the noun phrase in itself. So let's connect the subject and the predicate. So we have here, as you can see, the diagram. So we have here the diagram. The diagram shows the whole structure analysis. So we have here the sentence, and we have the noun phrase and the verb phrase. Under the noun phrase, we have only we. We is a pronoun and it is the noun phrase in itself. So we have here the verb phrase. We have here the R. The R is the verb and it is an intensive verb, and the is a determiner, and lucky is an adjective and it is an adjective phrase, and winners is a noun and it is nominal. So are the lucky winners is under the verb phrase. So we have done the phrase structure, and thank you for listening, everybody. That's all.
Good day, I am Teacher Wynette. So our lesson for today is clause structure, phrase markers, and phrase structure. So our sentence is, my friend reacted to my post on Facebook. So the clause structure on the sentence is SPOIOD. The word my friend is the subject, reacted is the predicate, to my post is the indirect object, while the word on Facebook is the direct object. Now, let us go on to phrase markers. My friend / reacted to my post on Facebook. The word my friend there is a noun phrase, while the reacted to my post on Facebook is a verb phrase. Lastly, the phrase structure. But first, let us identify first the sister in the sentence. So the sister in the sentence is on Facebook. On is the predicate and Facebook is the direct object. To my post, to is the predicate, my is a determiner, and I end post is a noun, while the reacted word is a verb and the type of verb is the transitive verb. My friend is my is determiner and friend is a noun, and it will become nominal and both noun phrase. So that would be all. Thank you.
And now let us move on to the sentence, JC considers Franco his trusted friend. The sentence is an example of independent clause since the sentence can stand alone and it expresses a complete thought. And now let us identify the clause elements in the sentence. JC here is our subject and considers is our predicate. The word friend here is our direct object since it is the receiver of the action in the clause, while Franco here is our indirect object since Franco identifies for whom the action of the verb is performed. The word trusted here is our adverbial, so the code is SPOIAOD. And now let us identify the noun phrase and the verb phrase in the sentence. JC got is our noun phrase, while considers Franco his trusted friend is our verb phrase.
And now let us analyze the structure of our sentence. Let us first dissect the verb phrase. Considers is the verb and it is a transitive verb. Franco is a noun phrase, and his is a determiner. Connect them and label nom. Friend here is a noun and our noun phrase, while trusted is an adjective phrase, and label it as mod, a modifier since it modifies what kind of friend Franco is. Considers Franco his trusted friend is our verb phrase. JC is the noun and our noun phrase. Noun phrase and verb phrase, connect them and label S as our sentence.